We are here today on a status hearing. We're conducting this through Zoom under a finding of good cause and consent and agreement of the parties. Okay, we'll go ahead and take everybody's announcements.
Daniel Trout for the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services, and Tim Coville is my permanency specialist today.
Jeff Hill on behalf of the mother, Judge. I don't see her here. I've had difficulty getting in touch with her. Hopefully, St. Francis has had better luck than I have.
Stacy Zavala on behalf of Liam.
Okay, what do we have new since our court report was filed?
Judge, we did get family plan signed by the mom a couple days ago, and it has been filed with the court. I was with her on Tuesday and went over that family plan with her, and she did sign it. She also drug tested on Tuesday. Liam is doing extremely well in his foster home. The father is in prison, and there's a little bit of difficulty getting him served because his incarceration unit changed midstream while the department was trying to serve him. But he has been served at San Saba, which is where he is now. I'm not sure what the date of service was, but I do know that he was served because I was contacted by someone who represented herself as his fiance, and she mentioned that he had gotten the court documents.
I've got a return, and it says that he's been located in a different or moved to a different unit, but I'm assuming they did serve him. I'm looking for the date though.
Well, I saw
It says his underlined is not executed, but it says he's located at the other unit. So I don't know that he was actually served on this.
I saw where we reissued citation, it looks like on the 18th to the San Saba unit. So we'll just wait and see when we get that back. So Mr. Colo, I mean, he possibly could have been, and we just haven't gotten the return citation yet. So we'll give it a few days and see what turns up. Okay. I show that he's an adjudicated father. Is that correct?
Yes, I believe so.
So since he is in prison, Ms. Katie, I think we can go ahead and appoint an attorney to represent him. What else do we have new? Anything?
Nothing else new, Your Honor, since the court report.
Okay. Okay, then, Mr. Hill.
I just sent Mr. Koval a message confirming if I had the correct phone number for Ms. Long. And apparently the reason I can't get a hold of her is that her phone was stolen. And so that's a pretty good reason why I couldn't get a hold of her. If Mr. Koval, if you wouldn't mind shooting me, you can, since this is live, you might not want to do it by voice and video, but if you wouldn't mind direct messaging me or chatting me with your phone number and perhaps your email so I can try and stay in touch with you. If I lose touch with her, that would be really appreciated.
Yes, sir. And I will let you know that when I was with her Tuesday at her parent-child visit that is supervised at our office, she could not remember who her attorney was. And so I gave her your name and your address and your phone number and your email address so that she can contact you when she is able to.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Koval. I appreciate your assistance. Okay, then, Ms. Zavala.
Your Honor, Liam's doing really well in placement. I haven't been able to see him in person, but we're scheduled to do that on Monday. But we've gotten good detailed reports from him. He's learning sign language and is up to about 20 words and sleeping well, doing well. He's got evaluations set up for different therapies. And I'm looking forward to getting to see him in person on Monday.
Is he here in region?
He is. He's not in Amarillo, but he's in region.
Okay. All right, Mr. Koval, have we started any visits with mom?
Yes, mom's visits are supervised at the St. Francis office. She has not missed any visits. She's been coming regularly, and I've supervised some of those visits, and we have a worker supervising the visits regularly, and they've been going well.
Okay. Thank you.
And Judge, you had ordered in the previous hearing that she be masked and gloved because of the positive drug test. And so she is adhering to that until we can have a negative test.
Okay, so hopefully we'll get, did she, on these tests that she took Tuesday, did she do UA and hair, or what did we do?
She didn't do hair because the hair was done recently, by the department, but she did do UA for both alcohol and for drug.
All right, so if, and if that's negative and those stay negative, then we can remove that requirement. So, okay, very good. All right, then I will continue the department as temporary managing conservator. I'm going to order the service plans as an order of the court. Mr. Hill, you can relay to Ms. Long when you get in contact with her how important the services are and the consequences of not working the services.
Yes, ma'am.
And we will get Mr. Tidwell, an attorney, appointed. And our next hearing date is December 19th of 2023. On each case for our initial permanency hearing, we are conducting this through Zoom under a finding of good cause and consent and agreement of the parties. And Ms. Taylor is making our record, and we are live streaming. All right, we'll go ahead and take everybody's announcement.
Daniel Trout for the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services, and Michelle Slagle is my permanency specialist today.
Gary Morales for respondent father, Randall Candelaria. Your Honor, I've made several calls to try to talk to him out of the prison, but I've kind of been running in circles on that, given numbers that inevitably don't answer. So I'm going to have to communicate with him by letter. I've not had a chance to speak with him, but I can announce ready.
Dave Michelson for respondent mother, Crystal. I have had no contact with her since the last hearing.
Vince Nowak for Jorge Bolanos. He is incarcerated, Judge, but I have been able to talk to him by phone, and he's not here, but I am, and I'm ready. Thank you.
Stacy Zavala on behalf of the kids, here and ready.
Ms. Watson has logged in. Is she supervising on this case?
No, it's my case. She's actually taking over the supervisor coverage after this case.
Okay, thank you. All right, so what do we have new then?
There's nothing new to report since the court report was filed.
Okay, minimal contact with mom. Do we even know where she is right now?
No, I have. I visited with her on July 25th. I believe that was right after she got out of jail from Albuquerque, New Mexico. And at that time, she told me that she was wanting to go to rehab in Albuquerque, then decided she wanted to go to rehab in Austin, and I haven't talked to her since then.
Right, and have we had any contact with Mr. Vallejo?
No, none whatsoever.
Do we know where he is?
The investigators had found him in Stratford, but I have not had luck getting a hold of him at the address or phone number that they had gotten for him.
I had communicated with him early in the case, and he had given me a phone number and an email address, but since early in the case, he has discontinued contact with me.
All right. At the time, I mean, we got him served, or I showed that we had personal service on him. So we knew where he was at one point in time, but nobody's heard from him essentially since. Sounds like.
Yes. And that was in March we got him served.
Okay. All right. We know where Mr. Candelaria is. Has St. Francis had any communication with him?
I did. The 1st of August, he called his girlfriend, and she called him on three-way. And he stated that he wanted to work services to be able to get his child back. But he's getting out in June of 24. And then I got a phone call from his girlfriend after that stating that he had gotten in trouble and had fresh needle marks on him and gotten caught with a big amount of Suboxone. And that's the last I've heard from anything on him.
All right. And I had a note that we had genetic testing underway on him. Have we gotten anything done yet on that?
No, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Mr. Bolanos, has St. Francis had contact with him?
I've not had contact to him by talking to him, but he did sign his service plan and send that back to us.
He's also in TDCJ, is that correct?
That is correct. And I did send him a parent packet for our parents that are incarcerated, but I haven't received anything back from him as of yet.
Essentially, we're at the initial permanency stage. No one has initiated any services that we know about yet.
That's correct.
Okay. All right, let's talk about then, my understanding is children, are the children all together now?
Yes, all of the children just recently got moved to Austin to their uncle's home.
Okay. And he is willing to be long-term placement and is adoption motivated, correct?
That is correct.
Kids are doing great there.
Yes, they are.
Are parents aware that the children are all placed there now?
They should be. I don't know. I know Randall is aware of it. I've not sent my August letter out for Natalie's dad yet, but I will send that to him to let him know.
And is this a maternal uncle, a paternal uncle?
A maternal uncle.
All right, Mr. Michelson.
I've had no contact with mother. My last understanding was she was in custody in Albuquerque. Miss Slagle has kind of cleared some of that up for me. So at this point, I have no idea how to reach her or contact her.
All right, so Ms. Slagle, if you hear anything from her, if you'll pass it along to Mr. Michelson and let him know.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, any new contact information, anything. All right, and Mr. Taylor?
Really nothing to add. I've had no contact with Mr. Vallejo since early in the case when he was in Stratford. Don't know that he's not still there, but he's not responding to my attempts to communicate with him any longer.
All right, Mr. Morales.
Your Honor, I just asked Ms. Slagle that if Randall does contact her by third party or however, that she inform him of maybe my phone number. Like I said, it's been difficult to try to get a hold of him. When I was appointed, he had just transferred to the prison system. So I'm going to write him a letter, but if he has the means to contact me directly, I'd like him to know my information.
Okay, Mr. Novak?
Thank you, Judge. I talked to Mr. Bolanos last week. He is motivated to work services. And he's listed as the alleged father in the petition. He confirmed to me that he is indeed Natalie's father. In Michelle, if you could, because I've been asking and hearing about prison packets for a long, long time, and this comes up a lot, it seems. Would you be kind enough to email me a copy of whatever you mailed to Mr. Bolanos?
Yes, I will send that to you.
Thank you so much. And Judge, that's all. He's up for parole again in October. We'll see, but that's all I've got to report to the court today.
All right, appreciate it. Okay, Ms. Zavala?
So I've been able to meet in person with the kids when they were in Dumas several times, and was able to talk to them before their move, and then was able to Zoom with them after their move. They are doing amazing. That Zoom call made me so happy. They looked great. I got to see all of them. Of course, only really got to talk to the girls because Randall didn't have much to say, but he looked great. They're surrounded by family. I couldn't be happier with where they are. Now they have all been together for this whole case. I mean, they were placed together previously, but I have got no concerns at all, and I'm quite happy with how they're doing. And I do think it'd be great to move forward with a final. They had mentioned, of course, anytime you get 3 kids added into your own kids and your family, you know, they could use help with things like shoes and stuff. But I think, I mean, I'm not concerned about how they're going to do there, but if there is any room to help them with any of those kinds of things, that would be great.
Okay, so let me ask this. I mean, I know we've got one dad that's sort of MIA. We got 2 that are in prison. I know that mediating might be very difficult. Depends on how cooperative those units are. And then Mr. Taylor, if you can't find your guy, you know, you're not going to have anybody there to mediate. So I guess I'm just going to kick it to y'all to try to visit with your clients. You know, it would seem to me that there's a good outcome already for these children. They're with family. They're, you know, in a good place. They're doing well. It appears that none of the parents are in a position to really care for the children. you know, at this point in time. I don't, Mr. Novak, I don't, you know, if your guys' parole's in October, he may be in a better spot than anybody, but then he's going to have a lot of work to do. So I don't know if there's any room for discussion among the parties, but I would certainly encourage it. I'm going to set it for an early final in December. I'll just set our next hearing date, which is December 21st of 2023. And that's a 9 o'clock docket. I'm going to set them for final because, you know, we're 173 days in and we've made no progress with parents. So, permanency for the children being the ultimate responsibility of the court, then we're going to move it along unless something changes. So, Mr. Nowak, any objection to me adjudicating Mr. Bolanos as the father of Natalie today?
Not at all. I was clear when I covered that with him. He would like for that to happen today.
Okay. All right, then I will adjudicate Jorge Bolanos as the father of Natalie, establish the parent-child relationship between them. And we're going to continue the department as temporary managing conservator. Obviously, I'm going to continue children's placement where they are and set this for an early final, December 21st. And I'll see everybody back before that. I mean, on that day. And so I appreciate y'all. Thank you very much.
Daniel Trout with the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services, and Jennifer Mays is my permanency specialist today. We're present, ready, Your Honor.
Todd Henderson, standing in for Natalie Archer on behalf of Mom Tatiana Klein.
All right, and Mr. Tyler, let me just announce real quick, Mr. Tyler is present today, although I haven't seen Mr. Barfield yet, but Mr. Tyler is present.
Jay Michelson on behalf of Darnell Donald. I have not had contact with him since I was appointed on August 15th.
Gary Morales for Cameron Douglas Coleman, Your Honor. He is incarcerated. I spoke with him yesterday. Well, I'm ready.
Your Honor, I'm Tate Eldridge. I represent the unknown father, and I'm here, present, ready.
Judge Jeff Hill, representing Daryl Anthony, the unknown father in the Tyler case, in the Kingston Tyler case.
Stacey Zavala on behalf of the kids.
All right.
Awesome.
Sorry, you know. Okay, so what do we have new since our court report was filed?
Father has completed all of his classes.
Father for who? We got lots of dads. Which father?
Hey, Jerome, Tyler. He has completed all his classes. He's still working temporarily full-time for that temp service. He has reported that he may be looking at going to Oklahoma and placing his children. I'm in the process of doing an ICPC for the kids. There's an aunt in Oklahoma that is willing to try to take the kids. So we're going to do an ICPC packet and see if we can do a home study and get that approved.
For all of the children?
Yes, for all of the children together. She's willing to take all the children. So we're going to try that. I've spoken to Cameron Coleman, the father of the other kids of Kamaya and Tanaya, and he gave me a phone number for his grandmother. I have tried to contact that number. I have not been successful in reaching anybody. I've also left a message. He was wanting to, or hoping that maybe if I could get a hold of his mom, she would be willing to take the girls. So we'll also see how that works, but I think we're going to try the ICPC packet, but also if those are his daughters, we'll figure something out when we get to that point, if it works. Mom hasn't completed all her classes. The only class that she's done was, of course, the parenting class. She did tell me that she had an assessment at a rehabilitation center. She did not give me the name or was unclear of the address. She just said that she would be going when I spoke to her last. So other than that, none of the classes have been completed on her end. She did tell me that she has been trying to reach the OZAR program, but has not been able to get a hold of anybody, or anybody has not gotten a hold of her.
Can I speak? Or
Well, you'll have a chance to just let her finish.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So nobody's been able to reach her on that. And then the kid, as far as Darnell Donald and Daryl Anthony, I have not been able to make any contact. I did go to the apartment complex and the addresses I had. No one was there. Actually, I was looking around to see if I could find somebody that knew them, but there was nobody that was around, so I was unable to make contact with them. The girls are doing really, really well. They got some new house parents. They're adjusting well. They're doing good. They're enjoying school. They're participating in the activities that are age appropriate for them. They do share rooms. They're getting along with their peers right now. They're doing really well right now. The Tyler boys are doing extremely well as well. Kingston has progressed a lot. He's crawling, he's more active. He's eating well. Pharaoh's, he was going to be registered for Head Start program, but due to the schedule of the foster parents, they weren't able to put him in the Head Start program, but he's also doing really good. He takes redirection pretty good. And he's really, really awesome. So, and they're all up to date with their medical, and that's about it.
So did you say that Mr. Tyler has completed all of the services or most all of his services?
Yes, he has completed his services. The only thing that we're waiting for him is for him to get stability, a home for the kids, so that he can provide a home and the kids could go home to him. But at this point, he is planning or has talked about moving to Oklahoma.
Right, but he's only the father of Pharaoh, right?
Correct. But he is willing to take all 4 children.
All right. Would he be living in the same area of Oklahoma as where the aunt is?
Yes, that is his plan, is to have the kids placed with aunt while he gets stable, so that the kids will be sent to his home after he is able to provide for them.
So the aunt, is this a maternal, paternal? How is she related?
She is his mother's sister.
Okay.
Is Jero's aunt.
Okay, they're related to Mr. Tyler. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Ms. Archer, or no, Mr. Henderson. I'm sorry, Mr. Henderson's filling in for Ms. Archer. So Mr. Henderson, and I think Ms. Klein had something as well, but I'll start with you.
And I may address what she wanted to address. We'll see. Ms. Mays, you were mentioning OSAR. The latest report I have said Tatiana completed her assessment in November. Was there something additional that you were referencing for OSAR?
Well, when I spoke with Ms. Klein, when I met Ms. Klein, she had told me that she had not completed anything but her parenting class. And she had mentioned the OSAR program not contacting her to complete that. So if she completed it last November, I am not aware of that.
Who would have put it in the court report where it says Tatiana completed her OSAR assessment on November 8th, 2022?
I do not know. This case was transferred me as of July 31st.
Okay. Well, so if it is in there, would you say that has been completed?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And were you aware that, and this may have been what you referenced, she's doing rehabilitation with Recovery? Did she report that to you?
We did talk about it. She did tell me she was going for an assessment. She did tell me that she would be taking classes, but I have not really had any contact with her since our visit.
And that was when?
Our visit took place August, give me just 1 second. It would have been between the dates of August 6th and August 12th. Okay. I can't give you the exact date. I don't have it documented on my calendar, okay, but I can get you an exact date if need to be.
That's okay. And it appears that she's been working at Burger King, correct?
That is correct.
And she's done her psychosocial evaluation.
Yes.
And she's going to therapy that was recommended by that, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And we already said she's done her OSAR, she's done her parenting. What specific services are left for her?
She does have her substance abuse, which if she is taking her assessment right now in the rehabilitation, that would count for that.
Okay. So that would be the only thing she's lacking.
Yes.
Okay.
And housing.
Okay. Have you had a discussion with her about her being on the list for HUD housing?
Yes, I have. I did tell her that I understand that HUD there's a long wait list for that. I did give her a resource of like Salvation Army. I told her about Faith City Mission. I'm not sure how much they help with, but I did tell her that I know that Salvation Army does frequently get money or grants for that. So I did suggest that she go and ask them about that program that they have there.
Okay, so that's all I have for Ms. Mays. Tatiana, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Yes, and as far as my therapy, I text her, our caseworker, a picture of my certificate, so I'm not sure why she said I didn't complete that, but everything that you said was pretty much on point. And as far as housing, we have a place for the kids to come to, but we'd rather have our own place with us having 4 kids. So that's really the only issue at the moment.
Okay, I think that's all I have, Judge.
So Mom's saying she's completed counseling?
She's currently in counseling. Is
Or
my
in counseling. Okay.
I completed it, but I voluntarily continue because of the situation we're going through. I need someone to talk to. I have my certificate for it. I don't have to keep going to it, but I'm going to. And I'm 3 today. I have the rehab today, and that'll be my 3rd session today. So yeah.
Okay. Ms. Mays, I guess you need to look back and see if you've got that completion on the required amount of counseling.
Yes, and if she can send that to me, because I'm not sure if she sent it to me or the prior caseworker on there, but if she can send that to me, just in case, that way I can upload it into Impact and document it on her family plan of service as completed.
Okay, Ms. Klein, do you mind to send that to Ms. Mays?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Mr. Barfield.
I don't have any questions of this witness.
Just anything on behalf of Mr. Tyler? We've talked with Mr.
I'll just
Tyler already today.
let me just call Mr. Tyler and see if he has anything he wants to say.
Okay, Mr. Tyler, if you can unmute for us.
Yes.
Okay,
Mr. Tyler.
any concerns or questions you've got today?
No, just I didn't know that me and her was as far as we are together, like complete with both our services, because that's why I was trying to add my auntie in, because if everything's not going as good as it's supposed to be, then I know my auntie would be much help needed with us, with her working at a church, with her being the first lady, like at the church, and the church working, she works for a daycare, so it's more good with the kids. But with us having 4 kids and me and her finishing all our service, we would want to have them all, under one roof, our own house and everything. But that's pretty much it. We're just trying to get done with the services and whatever's the fastest way to get our babies back to us.
Okay, so our final is set in November
Yes.
2nd. So we've got until then to try to get everything sorted out. It's never a bad idea to have a backup plan, and so
Yes.
I think it's smart to go forward with the ICPC on the ANT. But maybe that won't be necessary. But
Yes.
it gives us an additional option.
Yes,
So,
ma'am.
okay. All right, then anything else, Mr. Barfield?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Morales.
Your Honor, I spoke with Mr. Douglas Coleman yesterday. He did write both, I believe, CASA and perhaps the department a lengthy letter about some of the stuff that he's working on while he's incarcerated. He does seem very motivated to get his life together for Tanai and Kamaya. He understands that Kamaya is not his. His biggest frustration, Judge, and I know Ms. Mace took this case very late or just very recently, but his biggest frustration is that his grandmother and mother have not been looked into. I provided their information at the last hearing. His grandmother, the Addie Pride individual that I think was listed earlier, her number on, at least as he indicated to me, was a house phone. And she just moved. He also indicated that in her letter. But that's why I think he wants Ms. Mays to get a hold of his mother, because his mother's phone number is a cell phone number. He also provided his sister's cell phone number. These are 3 very capable individuals. I know Ms. Pride has previously been an adoptive parent. Ms. Coleman, I think, is very capable. I think the only potential limitation would be maybe that they might not be able to take all 4 kids. But regardless, he's really disappointed at the pace of what the department has looked into, or I should say St. Francis has looked into them as possible placement. And now we're talking about doing, an ICPC that could potentially take months. I hope, Mom and Mr. Tyler do well enough to where we can avoid that altogether. But Mr. Douglas Coleman's biggest concern is the fact that his mother and grandmother haven't been looked into. So I'd ask that a home study be done on one, if not both of those people, because they both here live locally, Your Honor.
I think Ms. May's testimony was she'd attempted to contact at least, or if not both of them, but had not gotten any return response. Did I misunderstand you, Ms. May?
No, that is correct. I did attempt to call the grandmother. I do not have the mother's information. Like I said, I did ask Cameron for that, but he did not know his mom's number right off, by memory. So I did attempt to call his grandmother, did leave a message, but have not received anything in return.
And that was my understanding, Your Honor. That's why I explained that his grandmother's phone number that he provided was a house phone number. And so he also indicated that she just recently moved. He doesn't know her new address. So that may be why she didn't get a return phone call. I do have both his mother's number and sister's number, but again, this was provided to Costa. This was also provided at the last hearing, and apparently neither one of these people have been looked into.
I'm going to ask you to send the information that you have to Ms. Mays, and so that she can follow up and attempt to reach them.
Absolutely.
So if people move and phone numbers change, and it's just let's get her whatever updated information we have, and then she can reach out and discuss with them their willingness and what how many, or if only one child, or so we know where we're going with it.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Would I be able to speak on that, or?
Sure.
You said yes? I'm sorry.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay. As far as I've known Cameron and them since I was 9 years old. Cameron, he's going to be in jail for a really long while. And as far as his charges, that's pretty concerning. Cameron's been to jail millions of times, which has nothing to do with the children, but if he's trying to be a father, he has to actually be there to be one. With Jerome, he's been there since my oldest. He basically taught my oldest how to walk. So they're all my four. They're all that they know. He's all that they know. I'm sorry. And as far as Cameron's mother, she's I don't know what it is. She has a vendetta towards me or whatever, but she's all over Facebook, basically bashing me and our situation, talking about how Kamaya's not Cameron's and this and that, and posting pictures and just saying crazy things. So it's it doesn't really I feel like it's kind of like an act.
Well, there's, just because we make contact with them, Ms. Klein, doesn't mean that we're going to place children with them. And Ms. Mays can go out there. She could look at what social media presence there is, and you can certainly make Mr. Morales, you can pass that on to him. And, if that's inappropriate, then, that would probably affect, the potential placement of the children there.
And her son, her sons, her two boys that are actually my uncle's kids, they tell me that her husband hits on them and things like that. So it's but if possible, could we please try, if anything goes bad, which I'm praying that it doesn't, can we please try to place all four together with Jerome and his aunt, if possible?
Yeah, I'll just tell you that, it's always of paramount importance to keep the children together. Okay.
Yes,
so, again, this is just like I explained to you, this just is potentially more options if they're needed. My hope is that you're getting yourself on the path and getting this stuff done, and Mr. Tyler is, and the goal is to reunify children with parents.
Yes,
we want kids with their parents, not with their grandparents, not with aunts and uncles, not in foster homes. We want children at home with their parents. So as long as you guys do your part, then it's a foregone conclusion the children are going to go home to parents. But you gotta do your stuff and get it done and show us that you've got a stable, appropriate home for the kids, and that you can take care of all of the children. So they may only be interested in one of the children or two of the children. That's going to be a factor. I have no problem reaching out and establishing where family is,
Mhm.
who they are, where they are, what their relationship is with the children. That is, Ms. Klein, we attempt to do that in every case that we have,
Yes, ma'am.
is to identify, the global world of these children. And I understand that sometimes parents don't like the idea of their kids being placed one place or the other. And I care about your opinion about where the children are placed, which is why I've let you talk about it. So all I can do is just tell you right now, I have no motivation to move the children anywhere right now. They're in a good placement. They seem to be doing well. They're together. We're moving in the right direction. So, this is all just stuff to have in our hip pocket. Okay.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Mr. Eldridge.
I'm on the Coleman case, Your Honor, and I represent the unknown father, and he is still unknown.
Okay. All right. Mr. Michelson for Mr. Donald.
Thank you. I would just ask the department if they have any contact with Darnell to please forward that information to me.
Ideally, we'd love to get genetic testing done on him, but I don't think we know where he is. Correct, Ms. Mays?
Correct.
Okay. All right. And Ms. Zavala.
Your Honor, I've got some questions for Ms. Mays, just to make sure I'm understanding correctly. Is it correct that mom tested positive at high levels for meth a month ago?
That is correct.
And that was a UA?
Yes.
And in May, she stated that she did not test because she would have been dirty.
I do not know what happened in May. I'm sorry, but I can look it up for you if I need to.
Okay, if that's documented in the report, do you have any reason to believe that that statement was not made to the previous worker?
I do believe that statement was made to the previous worker.
And she failed to test in February as well.
I'm unaware of that, but I can look that up if I need to.
So that would be about 5 months of presumed positive use for mom, correct?
Correct.
And during that time, was she also living with Mr. Tyler?
They do live under the same household, yes, and in the same address. As far as I know.
If there was an OSAR done in November of 22, would that reflect any of this 5 months worth of recent use that we're seeing?
Yes, it would.
If the OSAR was done in November of 22, prior to this 5 months of use, would we need a new OSAR?
No, not if you, no.
The report documents that she was dismissed by Ms. Delois Hinders for individual counseling. Do you have documentation of that in the file?
No, I do not, but I can look it up.
Do you have any information of her starting counseling with anyone else?
No, I do not.
And do you have any recent reports from Ms. Hinders?
No, I do not.
I pass the witness, Your Honor.
Ms. Klein, who are you going to counseling with?
I have my certificate. It's called oh wow. I don't know if I can exit out and go to it, but I see a lady named Kynan Kinley through Mandula, referred by Samara after Mrs. Before I stopped going to the first one, and I stopped going to her because like my first session, she wanted to send me off to Lubbock and put me on pills, and I was like, I want to try to work it out, talk first and work it out, and it just like I just felt like she kept pushing, so I was like, I asked Miss Samara if I could switch, and it took a week or so for her to find someone else. So that was really the only issue. But I've been in counseling since April, and I have my certificate, like I stated, that I will be sending over. And as far as the drug test, that's why I voluntarily am going to Recovery Tree. So we're just really waiting to test.
Okay. Well, Ms. Mays, I think in your next meeting with mom, y'all need to go down through that service plan. Let's figure out what providers are she seeing, what do you have current referrals to? I mean, or is she seeing people that are not contracted with the department? I mean, I'm hearing an awful lot of vagueness.
Judge, I would also ask that, as kind of going on what Ms. Zavala was pointing on, if we've had that many drug screens positive since the last OSAR, that we, according to the Family Planning Service, we need another OSAR if she's still testing positive since she has done one. That's been what, 9-10 months, and she's tested positive a few times since then. I think we need a new OSAR.
Oh, yeah, if that's accurate. So since Ms. Mays has come into this case partially through, okay, Ms. Watson, you're my supervisor of the day. I'm thinking, I don't know what we want to call it, but I'm thinking a family meeting, let's see where we're at. I mean, we're coming up on a final, and I want to make sure that, number one, if we're getting services done, that they're authorized, contracted services that we're going to give mom credit for.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm just, I'm not getting definitive answers to a lot of this today, and I don't have time for us to look everything up and get there, so I'm going to order you all to sit down and have a meeting, family team meeting, whatever you want. I don't know, whatever you call it.
Yes, ma'am.
I want to sort this stuff out.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Ms. Garrett.
Thank you, Your Honor. The children are doing well in their home. It's been reported that, and I hope I don't say her name wrong, or Pharaoh has been using some cursing, but they're redirecting, and it's getting better with that. The main concern is mom's drug screens, are testing positive. We'd just like to see the parents continue with their services and get the services completed. The children stay in the placements that they're in. And St. Francis continue with temporary managing conservator.
All right, so I want everybody to get together with parents, and that we can round up and get there, and let's go through these service plans, and let's make sure that we've got, everybody knows what they need to be doing and who they need to be seeing, and if we've had that many months of problematic drug screens or failure to test or whatever. I mean, I agree. I think a new OSAR would probably be appropriate, but I just think everybody needs to sit down and make sure everybody's dealing with the same set of facts.
Yes.
Okay. Today I'm going to continue the department as temporary managing conservator of all the children, and I will continue their placement. And like I said, I'm going to order for lack of a better thing, I'll say a family team meeting. And we are going to be back on our final November 2nd of 2023 on a 9:00 docket. Okay, so Ms. Mays, we proceed with the ICPC. Mr. Morales, get that information to Ms. Mays. She'll still try to make contact with the other family. We'll continue to do everything that we always do. Okay.
Judge, do you, on that note, if we could also have Ms. Klein and Mr. Tyler drug screen for us today?
Okay, so Mr. Tyler and Ms. Klein, I'm going to order you both to go drug test today. You want hair and UA, just UA? What are you wanting?
I have, I'm sorry, I have a rehab today and therapy today. So.
Okay, hang on. Mr. What do you want?
Both, Your Honor.
Okay. What time are your appointments, Ms. Klein? And you're muted.
Rehab's at 2, and then I believe I want to say 3:30. I have a peer meeting or whatever with Miss Keisha. So.
Well, you've got between now and 2 o'clock to go drug test. Ms. Mays, get that paperwork out there immediately.
Yeah, find us a ride or something. I don't have a car.
Do you need a ride?
Yes.
Mr. Tyler, can you get there?
Yes, ma'am. I'll find a way.
Well,
all you have to do is send me the information.
Either find a way, or Ms. Mays, can we get them transported? You're muted. You're muted.
Yes, I will pick them up and take them for the UA if need to be.
Okay. Well, the clock's ticking, so
So I will,
Get
if
them
they
like.
can be ready by, if they can be ready by 11:30, I can pick them up by 11:30. Just give me enough opportunity to put in the drug screens for them, please.
Okay, folks, can you be ready at 11:30 for her to be there?
Gotta make it.
I'm
Yes,
sorry.
ma'am.
Okay, Ms. Klein.
Yes.
Okay. All right then.
Judge, did you say November 2nd? I'm sorry.
All right. Yes, November 2nd. Everybody's announcements.
Daniel Trout for the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. We're present ready. Your Honor.
Brooks Barfield, representing as the attorney ad litem for mom, Tina Martinez, present and ready. My client is with Mr. Jackson at the office.
Joel Jackson, guardian ad litem for Tina Martinez, present and ready, Your Honor.
Stacy Zavala on behalf of the kids.
All right, thank y'all.
And Your Honor, before we get started, after speaking to Mr. Barfield, Mr. Jackson, I believe mom is in agreement to TMC and to work services. As far as dads, we have sent out for service on Kareem Daniel. He is incarcerated in Lubbock County Jail. We have not got a return service on that yet. And as to alleged dad Joe Rico in the other case, my understanding as of yesterday, I believe he left the hospital, did not get booked in on his warrant, and is in the wind right now. We have not found him to get him served. That is my understanding on the two dads that we have played in these cases.
In light of the fact that it would certainly sound like neither father would be in a position to care for the children, and then, whatever other facts the department may present about that. Are we ready to go ahead and proceed today?
Yes, ma'am. I just wanted to notify the court of those things, but yes, ma'am, we're ready to proceed.
All right. Okay then. All right, you have an announcement to make with respect to mom, and then we'll call your first witness. Just agree to TMC, no child support, no medical.
Yes, ma'am, and mom's agreeing to work services and cooperate with the department. We're also, Mr. Jackson, Ms. Barfield will be asking for a home study to be done on Aunt in the case. She's in the office with Mr. Jackson today also, which I believe we would be willing to do a home study.
And is Ms. Medrano, is that maternal aunt?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great.
And just for the court's information, it's my understanding there was a CPS case here a few years ago that involved some other family members, and the kids were placed with her in that case too. So that CPS has looked at her in the past.
Okay. Have we initiated that? Can we just expedite that?
It hasn't been initiated, Your Honor. I believe in the initial removal in this case, she was spoken to. There were a few things that she had to take care of before we could, such as driver's license and stuff. Is my understanding that she has taken care of that, and that's why we'd be asking. As far as expedited, I don't think we have a problem doing that. I know she has something else coming up that may prevent her from taking the kids right now. Some personal matter that she has to take care of, but we may go ahead and expedite in order to have it done by the time she gets ready, if that makes sense, without saying too much about what's going on with her.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, we're live streaming, so I'm fine with that. I mean, I'll order it to be expedited at whatever point we're ready to roll with it.
Okay.
Thank you, Judge.
If that makes sense.
Yes, ma'am.
And Joe, if you would email me, or Brooks, either one, correct the full spelling of her name to where I make sure I have it right when I put it in the expedited order.
Okay, and I guess her contact information.
Yeah, I think I don't know if St. Francis department has it. I think from the original.
I'll see to it that you get it.
Okay, all right. Yeah, just send me everything and I'll make sure they got it.
Thank you.
Are children in the area right now?
They are now. One of them was not, but they are now in the area. I believe actually one of them may still be in Lubbock, but in region now.
But not all together.
Two are now together.
Okay. And the baby's separate. Okay.
I believe so.
Okay. Okay, then, Mr. Trout, if you want to call your first witness, we can get some information about Mr. Rico and Mr. Daniel.
Yes, ma'am. We've called Courtney Tucker. Are you familiar with those cases?
I received, in regards to this case, I received this case on August 10th of this year.
Okay. And a report came in to the department?
Correct.
And what was the reasoning for that report?
The report came in regards to a shooting that happened at the residence of Tina Martinez involving the alleged father of Sky and Elizabeth.
Okay.
And he had been shot in the chest.
Okay. And this, you said the home of Tina Martinez, is this also the home where the children live?
Correct.
And children were home at this time?
Correct.
And you said that, so mom's name is Tina Martinez.
Yes, sir.
And you learned through investigations that the alleged father of two of the children is Joe Rico?
Yes, sir.
And were you able to meet with mom?
Yes, sir.
Did mom give you a name of who the possible father of Kim is?
Yes, sir.
Who is that?
KM Daniel.
Okay. Now, was Mr. Rico taken to the hospital?
Yes, sir.
Have you been able to, were you ever able to interview Joe Rico during this case, during your investigation?
Yes, sir. On August 11th.
Okay. Was he cooperative during your interview?
To an extent.
Now, I know in the report, did he admit to being the father to both children?
No, sir. Just to Sky.
Okay. Do we have another possible name of another alleged father for Elizabeth?
Yes, sir. There was a possibility, Angel Rico.
Okay. And was that a name given by him or just that came up during the investigation? Was it given by mom?
It was a name that was kind of joked about between Tina Martinez and her mother. And that was Marcella.
Okay. Do we have any information on that other alleged father outside of a name, possibly Angel Rico?
No, sir.
Okay. So you have no birthdays, no contact information, nothing as far as that?
No, sir.
Have your searches brought up anybody by that name?
No, sir. Not as siblings of Joe.
Okay. All right. So right now we're working under the assumption that Joe Rico is possibly the father of Elizabeth and Scott.
Correct.
Did you informed him of the removal?
Yes, sir.
Is that the only time you were ever able to meet with Mr. Rico?
Yes, sir.
And when was the last, have you tried to call him or contact him since then?
No, sir. During the interview, he informed me that he did not have an address and just to use Tina's address as his, and that he did not have a working phone.
Okay, so you don't have a phone number for him either?
No, sir.
Do you know where Mr. Rico is now?
No, sir.
What is your last information as far as where he could be located? Let me ask that again. Let me ask that differently. You met with him in the hospital?
Yes, sir.
And did he have, during your investigation, did you find out that he had warrants?
Correct.
And those were warrants out of Potter County?
Correct.
If he was to make it out of the hospital, he was to be booked in on his warrants, is that correct?
Correct.
And what did you find out that warrant was for?
I believe it was assault on a family member. It would have been a charge in regards to him and Tina.
Okay. So was he discharged from the hospital to your knowledge?
No, sir. There was a police report made. He had escaped from the hospital. He had left the hospital prior to being taken into custody for his warrant.
And that's on his own accord?
Yes, sir.
And when was that? Do you know?
This would have been on 8/12.
Okay. And there's been no contact made with him since?
No, sir.
Okay. As far as the alleged father to Candace, have you been able to make contact with him?
I did have a courtesy worker with the department in Lubbock that made contact with him at the jail.
And did he admit to being father of Camden, or is he going still that he's alleged? Does he want any paternity testing? What was that conversation?
He did say that was his son, and nothing further than that. And we haven't received any paperwork back as well.
Okay, so you did the courtesy worker take paperwork, or did you mail paperwork to him?
Correct. The courtesy worker took paperwork. Okay.
But from the conversation, he's admitting right now that Camden is his child.
Correct.
Now, as far as the removal in this case, one dad was in custody and another dad went to the hospital. Is that correct?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
One of the alleged fathers is in custody in Lubbock.
Correct.
And the other alleged father at the time was taken to the hospital.
Correct.
Did the department work with mom to try to prevent the removal at the time?
Yes, sir.
Did we try to find some appropriate placement or supervising parties?
Yes, sir.
During your investigation, we worked with the family to try to find a supervising party to prevent the removal. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Were we successful in finding a party that was appropriate at the time?
No, sir.
Okay. And the removal was based to ensure the safety of the children due to the events that had happened at the house.
Yes, sir.
Which was a shooting that happened allegedly on the property that the children were residing at.
Yes, sir.
And due to those facts, the department believed it was in the best interest of the children to ensure their safety to remove that night.
Yes, sir.
Now you spoke with Aunt that is in the office right now with Mr. Jackson, Amanda.
Yes, sir.
And there were a few issues as far as her being a supervisory party at the time, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Outside of those if the issues that were prevented that night were cleared up, the department had any problem doing a home study?
Correct.
Okay. And you do believe that it was in the best interest to remove the children due to the events of shooting at the home?
Correct.
I'll pass the witness at this time, Your
Honor. I have, well, ma'am, would it be beneficial in your opinion that we have no contact orders because of the domestic violence situation on the father where that is an issue?
I don't believe that would be a problem.
Okay. So if I asked the court to enter a no contact, y'all wouldn't have any no contact order for RICO, you would have no issue with that?
I have no issue with that.
Okay. That's all the questions that I have.
All right, and Mr. Jackson?
Your Honor, Mr. Barfield stole my thunder, so no questions.
All right, and Ms. Zavala?
I have no questions, Your Honor.
Your Honor, yes, ma'am. I have a couple that I left out on that. Ms. Tucker, how are the children doing right now?
They are doing well. Elizabeth was behind on quite a few shots, so she had to get quite a few shots this week. She had thrush, and so that's clearing up. But other than that, the children are doing well.
Okay, and we kind of spoke about it before we really got into the hearing, but two of the children are placed together.
Correct.
And one of them is in another foster home, but they're all in the umbrella area. Is that correct?
Correct. Region 1, yes.
Okay. All right. And other than those few things you just mentioned, all three kids are doing well.
Yes, sir.
And have adjusted to placements.
Yes, sir.
All right. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Department rest?
Department of Arrest, Your Honor.
Thank you for feeding me.
Don't know where that came from.
I'm sorry, Judge. That was my phone. It talks to me when I put it on a charger.
Oh,
sorry. It's appreciative when it gets food.
All right, that's a new one for me.
Yeah.
And Judge, I think it would be, as Mr. Barfield brought up, I believe it would probably be a good idea to have a no contact between the alleged father, Joe Rico, and the mother, King Martinez.
And I would second that, Judge.
Ms. Martinez, let me explain to you. I mean, there's several reasons for that. Number one, I'm just very concerned about the events that got us here. Number two, he's now a fugitive, and you know, you don't need to dig yourself into that hole by harboring or letting him stay there with you or anything like that, because you know that just turns around and gets you in trouble. So you understand, if he shows up, you need to turn him away, and if he does, really should be calling law enforcement.
Yes.
Okay. I know that's hard to do to the father of your kids, but you know, he clearly left the hospital knowing that he had some business that needed to be taken care of, and he didn't do that. So just know that any assistance you would give him could be a real problem for you. Okay. I'd very much like to see you succeed in this case. So you look after you right now. Okay. All right then. Mr. Barfield, do you have anything to present today?
No, not really, other than our agreement. And we'd address the no contact. I have nothing else to present for the purposes of today's hearing.
All right. And Mr. Jackson, anything on behalf of Mom?
Yes, ma'am. Just wanted you to know, I mean, obviously she's in agreement with working the services. Mr. Barfield and I have a 17-year-old client. This girl is already enrolled herself in school. She's back in school. She's also found her a job. She's working. She's hit the ground running at a very young age and has had a lot on her plate throughout all this. And I just wanted the court to recognize that.
Okay. I'm very pleased to hear that. Excuse me. Because you've got 3 kiddos that really need you. And, you know, you got a lot of help right now, Ms. Martinez. I mean, everybody here wants to help you succeed. So, you know, if you're struggling with something, you let your caseworker know, you let your attorney know, you know, so that we can help you with whatever that is. All right. Okay, then. Ms. Zabala, you have, let me ask real quick, Mr. Barfield, Mr. Jackson, you both rest?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Ms. Zabala, anything to present?
No, Your Honor, just an update about the kids. They are doing well. Sky was originally placed pretty far away and has now been moved and is with Camden. They are both doing very well, and they're in a home that I've worked with before and have great confidence in. Elizabeth is in Lubbock. She does have, they're checking on some issues with her ear in terms of there's a deformity of the ear, and so they're checking with an audiologist, they're checking with an ENT to make sure that's covered. The thrush is clearing up. They're also doing an ultrasound on the hip, but everybody's on top of medical needs, and all the kids are doing well. And it is my recommendation that the department be named temporary managing conservator, and that that is in the best interest of the kids.
All right, then. Okay, at this time, then, I do find that the evidence is sufficient to name the Department of Family and Protective Services as the temporary managing conservator of all 3 children. And that is based on a finding that there would be ongoing and continuing danger to the children to be in the home at this time, that reasonable efforts have been made to avoid the removal of the children, but that they could not safely be placed in a home with any of the parents right now. We've got one father who's obviously in jail and would not be able to care for the children. We've got one father who is, at least right now, absconding from law enforcement. That would not be a good environment for the children. And we just need to work with Mom and set her up for success. So I'm not going to order any child support or medical support to be paid at this time. And of course, we'll get visits going with Mom if we haven't already. But moving forward, we'll keep those going. So, all right, then. I appreciate everybody. Thank you very much for your time. And Ms. Martinez, the best of luck to you. Stay in good contact with Mr. Jackson and Mr. Barfield. They'll take good care of you. And, you know, they'll guide you through this process. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Hey, Judge, Could we get off a live stream right quick? I had a department question. I needed to get some information before we're finished, please.
Yeah, sure. The other thing, I will order that expedited home study on Ms. Madrano. As soon as you all are ready to pull the trigger on that, then we'll get it in the works.
Thank you.
Okay, that will conclude our we're here today, formal proceedings today, in both cases on our final, to resume our final, which was called and recessed on August 1st. We reset to this day. So in a bench conference, what I have learned is that there are some relinquishments that have been executed by Mr. Cranford that are in like FedEx or whatever, UPS overnight, back to Mr. Henderson. Mr. Henderson has looked at the tracking, and those have actually been picked up and are in their system on their way to Mr. Henderson, but we don't have those in hand, and Mr. Henderson doesn't have those in hand at this point in time. So that we're not spinning our wheels and wasting extra time, we want to reset this case to September 12th. And we have a few things on the docket that morning, not very much. So this will be set on the morning docket. We'll set it on the 9 o'clock docket. It'll be the last thing on the docket that day. So my guess is, 10:30-ish probably, but the docket will go out obviously a week ahead of time. Mr. Cranford, we will make arrangements to have you brought back in that day.
Yes, ma'am.
And then we will take everything up all at one time on September 12th.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. I appreciate everybody's patience and time this afternoon. And I'll see everybody back in just a few weeks. And I'm also going to talk with the district judge. Mr. Barfield has a potential conflict brewing that day, so I'm going to have a conference with another judge to make sure that he will be free and available to us that day. So, okay. I appreciate everybody. Thank y'all very much. And have a good rest of your afternoon.